Harris, you want to go?
Hey, I'll
Start
go.
with Maddie here.
Longo, what conversations have you had with Jordan so far this week about preparing for probably the biggest test he's had yet?
No different conversations with Jordan than the normal. I mean, it's week 3. We got to get a third week better. We have probably our toughest opponent to date, and he's got to prepare the same way. So I don't think he's going through the same routine today and the same routine yesterday. I wouldn't say it's business as usual, but I would say that the routine and the process is the same every week. So nothing different really to answer your question.
Looks like the receivers have done a good job of making catches and making adjustments, with difficult circumstances. But what different challenge will they face with Alabama's defensive backs as opposed to the ones that you guys have seen so far?
I think we have a lot of respect for Alabama's defense, obviously. It's probably the most talented defense that we've seen this year without question. The corners are longer this week than what we've seen the first 2 weeks. They've got great feet and great hips. And I don't know about making a comparison, but I do know the receivers are very well aware that they have a challenge this week. So you take that into account when you talk about your game plan as a staff. But I think we like the way we match up right now, and it's just more about us doing the things that we need to do for Saturday to execute.
Coach, if you're seeing your defense struggle in your own offense, do you give any thought to let's slow it down, let's run the ball a little bit more to let the defense rest, or let's score as quickly and as possible as we can? Does that ever come across when you're on offense?
It does. I think to beat a good team and to win any week it's a team deal. And so we talk about our offense, our defense, and our special teams every week. And we come to a decision based on what Matt Luke wants to do and all the input from the staff. And, whatever that approach is, we want to take it into Saturday. And, I think any time that one side can help the other by doing something, that's certainly a part of your strategy. But at the end of the day, that'll be Matt Luke's call.
We'll take questions up top.
Coach, you've had a unique perspective of being a coach at a high-level FCS program and now in the best conference in the FBS. Do you think there's a kind of a gap narrowing between high-level FCS and FBS, and why do you think that is?
A gap talent-wise?
Talent, I don't have the numbers to back this up, but it feels like there have been more close calls and upsets the last few years between FCS and FBS than ever.
I think there are a lot of good football players in this country, and you got some guys sometimes that don't go FBS, and you might not recruit a 6-foot guy because he's not 6'3" on paper, but he can play football. And the FCS programs that do a good job of recruiting some of those kids sometimes are able to get on the field and compete. But there is definitely a gap between FBS and FCS, and the other big difference is there's a lot more depth at the FBS level. And so a really, really healthy FCS team sometimes is able to compete. But right now that's not my issue. Right now my issue is Alabama, and that's what we're preparing for right now.
Phil, your left. Your left.
My left.
Arkansas State had almost 400 yards of offense, but only scored 7 points. Is Alabama different defensively once it gets inside the 20, inside the 10, versus kind of where they are between the 20s?
They are actually. They do a phenomenal job of playing defense anywhere on the field, but they're very good at what they do. They're extremely well coached. They'll be one of the best and most well coached teams that we see this year. They were last year, and that hasn't changed any. So, when you get down into the red zone, when you get down into that area of the field gets smaller, and against better defenses, that smaller field is a major advantage for the defense. And I think against some of the better teams they've played, not just Arkansas State, but they've had a lot of success with red zone defense because of the spacing. And it's tough enough to complete a throw and then pop a run against them at midfield. When you have a smaller field and they can play closer to the line of scrimmage and you can't extend them vertically the way you can out in the middle of the field, you know, that it constricts what you do. And it's always been an advantage for the defense, and that's no different here. It's just a greater advantage when you're as good as Alabama is defensively.